So back to some serious threat discussion. One, China is not the only entity in the world that's working on this.
No, everybody and their sister's working on it,
Yeah,
I think.
including, I hope, us, right? So again, getting back to the theme that we touched on last time, quantum, quote unquote, in and of itself is not good or bad. It's not best or evil. It's a tool. And there's a lot of good things that are going to come out of quantum computing, quantum science in the next couple decades, but specifically around encryption and decryption and national security systems. It seems like, every war is a tug of war between offense and defense. The Maginot Line gets built, the Germans run their tanks around it. Talk about the border debate, what's the solution for a 10-foot fence? 11-foot ladder. So we're going to be in this quantum competition. Can we do things that defeat the defense, even if the defense catches up with us?
My sense of it, based on my profound mathematical knowledge from
and your daughter's
college calculus that I took 700 years ago, is that we can do it. We can develop quantum resistant cryptographic standards, and then there'll have to be super duper quantum resistant cryptographic standards in this inevitable back and forth. I mean, I think the hard thing of it is just there's so much infrastructure already in place that relies on now vulnerable or soon to be vulnerable, cryptographic standards, that it's not developing the new resistant modes, although that's also hard. And NIST has had a lot of difficulty. Its algorithms are published after competition, and then some of them
get broken
are
right
immediately
away.
found to be insufficient. And so I don't mean to minimize that problem, but my broad sense, and it is only a broad sense, is that we're capable of developing adequate defense against short-term, at least, quantum decryption efforts. It's just getting it deployed, I think, across the vast expanse of information networks that exist, classified networks, unclassified networks, commercial networks, and so forth. That's just a monumental task, and it requires a lot of doing. And, not just guys like us, we're better at talking and thinking than my wife calls me.
I haven't chopped wood lately.
My wife calls me a thinker and a sayer, and she means it with a lot of love. But I mean, the doing is hard.
She's coming from a place of love.
Right. But the doing here is a lot. It's a lot, and we're going to have to do it. And we're going to have to do it fast.
Yeah. I think the meta lesson is the future's coming at us faster than we ever expected, and it might be coming at us faster than we know. However, the good news is that as an entity, a corporation, organization that needs to protect a lot of data, especially data at rest, which in some cases is your most valuable data, that's your mother lode of data, there are things you can do to make that data less attractive to our adversaries in the future. So we talked about this before. There's a snatch and decrypt later type of attack, and this goes back to David's excellent podcast on lawfare with the Project Venona person from the NSA. It's pretty clear that a bunch of our adversaries are just gobbling up whatever they can get, even though they know they can't decrypt it now, because they think they can decrypt it later. So given that, what you want to do is you want to harden your data so that in the future, when they use their quantum computers and they use Shor's algorithm and they break the encryption, your data looks less easy to crack than the next guy's data. Just like the old fable, you're running from the grizzly bear, you and I are out on the hunt. I don't have to outrun the grizzly bear, I just have to outrun you.
Yeah, exactly right. And even in the future with quantum computing, the adversary that you imagine, whichever it may be, nation state or otherwise, will have limited resources. They'll have to make hard decisions. There's so much data, not all of it is going to get decrypted. And the snatch and grab thing where they, grab it, keep it, and then eventually the tech comes along to decrypt it, means that you may not be facing a cryptographic threat today, but you might want to anticipate the cryptographic threat of tomorrow. and plan for it now. And
Yeah.
that's how you end up a winner, right? Plan
And these
ahead.
techniques are out there. There are quantum resistant technologies, not just algorithms, but also ways you can harden your entire cryptographic ecosystem. So most of the debate, as I understand it right now, is around breaking of the algorithms that enable the encrypted public transmission of data,
Yeah.
right? So if you are a large healthcare company and you decide that for reasons of security, efficiency, cost effectiveness, ease of use, you want to put your stuff in Amazon cloud or the Azure cloud or whatever.
Yep.
If your keys never go to the cloud, then even if Amazon or Microsoft gets hit with a snatch and decrypt attack and all your stuff gets stolen, they still don't have your keys.
Yeah.
And they can't break the keys that you used to store your data at rest.
If they're good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, sooner or later, sure, they'll be able to. But what you want to do is have your data look less attractive to the next guy.
So they go elsewhere. Yeah. Yep. And there's lots of other things, obviously, companies can, should, must do. Human issues as well, right? Phishing and getting people smart about resisting that kind of nonsense, where they willingly give up their credentials and so forth. All of that's got to be taken care of as well. And today's boards of directors, I think, are increasingly tuned in to their fiduciary duties of care and loyalty under Delaware law in the realm of cyber, and the need to sort of make sure that their companies are, at least making reasonable efforts, within the scope of the business judgment rule to secure the data, again, not just the data itself, but people with access to the data and so forth. So there's a whole suite of things you can do. It may not be perfect, but it can make you a less attractive target, as Bryan was saying, and that can make a big difference.
So many hyperlinks we're going to have to put to the transcript of what you just said, business judgment rule,
Oh, yeah.
et cetera. But I think the bottom line is that don't sleep on the quantum computing threat.
Yep.
Don't sleep on the current mathematical algorithmic threat. Understand that even if you protect your data today against today's threats, that might not be sufficient. And that day might be coming way sooner than any of us think, that some jury or some regulator is going to say, well, there was enough out there in January, February 2023 that you should have been protecting against this stuff.
Yep.
And so do your research, look at all the products and services that are out there, and protect your stuff. And I'm going to end with this, because I'm a perennial optimist. There is a corner case, in my opinion, where enough businesses and organizations and governments reorient themselves to quantum resistant decryption, that the bad guys, after like the 15th database they try to decrypt and they can't, say, game's not worth a candle. Let's focus our efforts on AI. No. I'm saying our adversaries. Well, that's not. I'm saying our adversaries say, it's too hard. We should move to something else.
I see. Yeah.
Right? Now, there are postings online that you can find that will describe the quantum computing spy versus spy, if you remember Mad Magazine. Offense, defense, back and forth.
If we were doing the bingo, that would have been like, check, right?
Yeah.
Put it on the list. We're not doing the bingo.
That it's kind of a never-ending thing, like the nuclear arms race. Like the offense and defense are going to fight forever over this. Maybe. And if that's true, you want to be on the side that's winning, but maybe we convince our adversaries that it's just not worth the trouble.
I mean, I think broadly speaking, there's no question that the spy versus spy or offense-defense fights occur, but they also shift sometimes in significant ways depending on the underlying environment. So it is possible that we could boldly go where no one has gone before and enter into a new post-quantum, cryptography world in which it's just not as big of a thing and data is just generally secure, except when you really screw something up.
Yeah.
And it's just that low-hanging fruit that gets harvested, and the rest of it is just sort of understood.
Because everyone, even the Chinese Communist Party, has resource limitations, as you said earlier, and they've got to prioritize. And now that David has brought into our discussion Star Trek, I think there's only one way to end this.
Oh, yeah.
Live long
Okay.
and prosper.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.